We are here to talk, of course, about Spider-Man 2. You're the voice of Venom in Spider-Man 2, one of Spider-Man's most formidable foes, which is amazing.
It is.
Yeah, I gotta ask you this. You're also a horror icon, most notably from Candyman in the Candyman films. I'm kind of curious, how did you find your version of Venom, and did any of it relate to your previous roles in horror films?
No, but definitely the roles in horror films laid the groundwork. I mean, I approach every role as being different. You know, I come from the theaters, so there's always a difference between Ibsen or Shakespeare, Chekhov, or August Wilson. So it's just listening to the story and filling in the details. I had a wonderful voice coach on the Spider-Man series, Christine. She guided me on each and every session I had, and there must have been at least 20 or so. We recorded till there was no more tape, man. It was 4 hour sessions at a time. When I got the job, first of all, voiceover work is some of the hardest work to crack. It took me, when my kids were little, I watched every Disney cartoon 100 times, couldn't break in. Finally, I got Transformers. I thought I had made it. My daughter told me when I was going to grow up. I said, never. But every voiceover assignment leads to the next, and it's been a great trajectory. It started with Call of Duty Black Ops 2, then segued into a little Dark Side, a little Dota 2. Dark Side led to Zoom, and Zoom indirectly led to Venom. So I cherish each one of these characters because I'm a comic nerd. I'm a nerd, basically. I'm a foodie, a nerd, a jazz lover, a lover of life, a womanizer. It's all wonderful.
And that kind of leads me to my next question, because you're no stranger to voicing characters in video games. So I'm kind of curious, how does this role as Venom stack up to your previous roles? Was this one more demanding, or how would you describe it?
Well, it was demanding because I didn't want to mess it up, right? So
Yeah.
as soon as I got it, I ran over to my comic guys at Golden Apple in LA and asked for the best 20 books that they could give me, and they gave me a stack, starting with Carnage. And once I didn't, I just looked at the images and stuff and read the stuff and then made it my own with the help of the team. It's one of my favorite characters so far. I'm not going to say it's the pinnacle, but it's damn near close because we don't know what's coming up next. But I love what I do. And this isn't just a job for me. This is a passion because I am a gamer myself, and I don't want to mess nothing up. I want it to be legendary, and hopefully time will tell. I have to say, I think pound for pound, the insanity anticipation level for this game, Spider-Man 2 Insomniac Games, is through the roof. And as we get closer to the drop date, I think it's going to get even more intense.
Now, going back to my questions, much like Candyman, there's been many different, takes of Venom throughout the years. So I'm kind of curious, what type of research did you do to find your version of the character of Venom for this game?
Well, aside from doing the comic book research, I had to start with the source. And then, I just made it my own. I come from the theater, man. So once I crafted it and I knew what his objectives were and what his weaknesses are, if there are any, I just made an algebraic equation and just had fun. He's a very interesting character. I worked with Tom from the movies Venom. He and I did a film together about 15 years ago called Minotaur. We shot it in Luxembourg. So we were close. We hung out. I knew his patterns and stuff. But I didn't want to make it like that because that's a film version. I wanted to make this particular to the gaming world and the gaming community. And so far on my Twitter feed, I'm getting nothing but support from players and gamers from all over the world. So hopefully we can live up to it.
I know you take every single role that you're given, or you have the opportunity to step into very seriously. And I read that they use actual bees during the filming of Candyman.
They sure did. We actually had a bee wrangler. His name was Norman Gary. I'll never forget him because 3 days before we started filming, he invited me into the bee trailer. I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, you need to get used to him." And literally, it was a double wide trailer that had over 1 million bees in it. And he gave me a little netting, and he said, "It's time to introduce yourself to your co-stars. There's little Georgie, there's Peter, little Peter. But the beautiful thing about working on film, everybody is an expert in their own particular craft, and you just have to appreciate it because it takes a team to make something substantial. And
Hmm.
shout out, props to Bernard Rose, who cast me and directed me in the original Candyman. We're friends to this day. Without him, you might have had another choice playing that character. So thank you, Bernard.
No, I'm glad we have you as Candyman. Again, like you're, because again, like as a black man growing up, in South Side of Chicago, you don't
South
see
Side.
who's also like a big horror fan. There aren't too many black horror figures. I mean, like honestly,
Well,
all I know, well, at least to back in the '90s, I'm talking about the
mhm.
'90s, the early 2000s. Of course, today times have changed. I know.
Changed a little bit.
Yeah, so it's nice to kind of have you as like again you're an icon, you're a horror icon. That's why you're at all of these different conventions and you're representing
I don't do
this.
too many. Now, let's not. That's not like I do one every
Okay,
week. I
okay,
pace it out. Not like my boy Najee, who's like running the gamut right now. Who's a dear friend also, by the way. Both, that's the other secret to this. Both Yuri and Najee and I are all
hmm,
friends before this job. Yuri and I worked on this Netflix animation thing called Dragon's Blood.
mm.
And Najee is, I just try to provide mentorship and leadership to his blossoming career. But this belongs to us. This
Yeah,
game belongs to the team that is doing it. And I think even people like Tom Hardy and Topper and Sam Raimi will be playing it along just like everybody else, and just swinging through the streets of Manhattan and having fun and joy while you do it.
100%. Yeah. Now, my final question. This is more because I'm a horror nerd, comic book fan as well. Got to ask you this. It's my final question. Who do you think would win in no holds barred fight, Venom or Candyman?
Oh, you know what? I think they're cousins. So they say, yo, cuz, like, that's your territory over there. I'm going to hang out on the south side and go listen to some blues. And when the blues joint closes, I'm going to wreak some havoc. So if you around, you want to mess with me, who's this coming up to you now with the
What?
Candyman
What's?
coat on, man?
Whoa!
Whoa! A Candyman Venom mashup. What's up?
How? What is this? I'm so.
We manifested something.
Wait a minute. How many? I must have said Candyman like 5 times throughout this
You
interview.
must have during the
My.
course of the interview. Good
Yeah.
presentation, great job. You know what? I guess that's what I got to look forward to on the con scene. A Venom Candyman mashup. That's incredible. Good job.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely expect this like at combat at cons, conventions,
Jesus,
whichever. The few that
Jesus
you
Christ.
do, expect this mashup to be happening for sure. Uh,
That made my day. Thank you very much.
of course. Thank you so much, Tony. Now I got to
Yeah,
ask you one final
yeah,
question. Right? Go
yeah.
away.
Get,
Venom
get
next.
out of there, man.
I
What's
don't know.
up? Go get something to eat. Get a pizza. Get a
Now
Chicago hot dog.
now my final question for you, Tony. My final question. Are
Final,
you
final.
from? Are you familiar with that tweet that PlayStation UK made a few weeks back about the special edition of Spider-Man 2, where they tweeted out, "Treat yourself to 19 inches and more of Venom."
Well, we when we debuted the last trailer at San Diego Comic Con, we saw that statue. We had it, and I knew then that I needed to have it, so I ordered it myself. It's awesome, man. You got Venom holding both Miles and Peter Parker at a distance. I mean, listen, I'm currently working on my autobiography, so I'm tracking down all of my action fingers, and that's definitely going to be one of them. And
Well,
I want to tell stories behind each one. So there you go. It's 19 inches, man. What do you want from me? There's how many statues? There's a new Candyman coming out by PCS. That's like I think 34 inches or something, and it's
34
like
inches?
it costs $1,400. So it's a limited collector's item thing. So I'm gonna get them all, man. I'm gonna get them all. I'm gonna write stories. I'm gonna be an inspiration to young black kids everywhere, people of color everywhere. If you think you can do it, you can do it. Okay? You can train yourself and you can be creative and be happy about laying down creative dreams.
Amen. I mean, you definitely are an inspiration, at least to me. I know I can tell you that for certain.
I can only reach one person at a time, my brother.
Yeah, and I'm gonna look forward to that autobiography. When is that?
Thank you.
Is there any day
Well,
on that or?
we got a publisher. We Simon and Schuster is interested, so I got to start like talking to all the directors I've worked with, doing interviews, collecting fan art, telling stories basically from each film I've ever done, starting with Platoon, and then going back and forth from the beginning to the end, and telling stories about location, people, purposes, and the reason for being.
Well, Tony, I want to thank you so much for giving me the time to talk to you. Honestly, it's truly an honor to be
My
speaking
pleasure.
with you.
Looking sharp there. Keep up the good work. Thank you for the tribute with the cup and the dial and your terrific mashup, man. That's wonderful. Makes my
Thank you.
day.
Thank you, Tony.
Right.
I'm sorry, I have to go.
No need to leave yet. Be my victim.